This is something the president campaigned on because we have seen a rise in violence perpetuated by Antifa, radical people across this country who subscribe to this group.
A few moments later.
Proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans.
But yeah, it is the left that is too violent in their rhetoric. That's the sermon we've been hearing from the Trump administration for months, that liberals are radical, unhinged, and dangerous to democracy, which brings us to this week's shining example of restraint and civility. I give you Karoline Leavitt, the Trump administration's national press secretary / chief propagandist, who went on Fox News and said, and this is a quote, by the way, the Democratic Party is made up of Hamas terrorists, because nothing says lower the temperature like calling half the country a terror cell.
I haven't seen White House response yet, but you can provide it to us here. To these unauthorized pro-Palestinian political messages praising Hamas, attacking President Donald Trump and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way. They were broadcast over these public address systems and terminals at 4 airports, including one in Pennsylvania. I want to get your reaction to that as Martha McCallum sat down with the New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani here in the Fox studios yesterday. And when asked, he refused to call for Hamas to lay down their weapons. Karoline, listen here and we'll get your reaction.
Do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons and leave the leadership in Gaza?
I believe that any future here in New York City is one that we have to make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there is peace. And that is the future that we have to fight for.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety.
What is White House reaction to all of that, Karoline?
Well, that's a classic case of I don't want to answer the question because I know it's wildly unpopular. In the Democrat Party, this interview proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And that's why President Trump worked so hard to end this conflict in the Middle East. It was President Trump who brought home the last living hostage out of Gaza, Edon Alexander, who has since been reunited with his family in New Jersey. It's President Trump who is actually pushing for peace. And I would like to add, where are all of the Free Palestine protesters? It's President Trump who freed Palestine, literally. And they are now very much quiet because why? They can't stand President Trump. And that is the basis of the Democrat Party today. They don't stand for anything except for catering to their far left base, which, as I said, includes anti-Semites, includes Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals who they want to let off freely to roam in American streets.
Now, I don't know who's in charge of message discipline over there, or if there's any at all, but if you're trying to argue that your side represents law and order, maybe don't accuse the opposition party of being criminals and Hamas. But let's be clear, right? This is not just a one-off slip of the tongue. This is a feature, not a bug. It's part of the Trump playbook. Scream about how the other side are violent while describing them as the enemy of the people or gnats that just need to be squashed or defeated by any means necessary.
The divide in American politics today is between these far-left fascists led by Harris and her group. We have a fascist person running who's incompetent. She's a Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist. She's not actually a socialist. She's gone past that. Somebody's got to explain this woman. There's a radical left Marxist, communist, fascist. But we have to take care of this little gnat that's on our shoulder called the Democrats. They want to give all of our money to illegal aliens that pour into the country. And, you know, I have a bigger heart than they do. But the problem is when you do that, they come in by the millions. Everybody wants that, so you can't do it.
Let's keep in mind, this is also the same administration that calls peaceful protesters insurrectionists while deploying troops to American cities to deal with them.
Important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, what they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. They're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. Controlling the physical territory of our border is essential to national security. We can't let these people in.
The president also said at the Pentagon yesterday that he wants American cities to be used as training grounds for the American military. Is this the highest and best use of the U.S. military, and is this the right way to train them?
I don't serve in the Pentagon. I run the House of Representatives. And what we need to be talking about today is real harm that the American people are going to feel because of what Chuck Schumer is doing. Let me tell you what's going to
Well, hold on a second. As Speaker of the House,
infants and children are not going to have nutrition programs.
As Speaker of the House, do you believe it's appropriate to use American cities as training grounds for the U.S. military, calling those people in the American cities the enemy within? I'm asking you, as Speaker of the House, do you think that's appropriate?
I'm not going to comment on your characterization of what the president said. I didn't get to see that speech because I was a little busy yesterday.
The same party that says Democrats are dividing the country while shutting down the government, leaving people without health care, weaponizing the DOJ, and calling journalists enemies of the people. Hypocrisy, as we know, is rife.
Due to U.S. military, 61%. The National Guard in particular, 58%. When you get 3 in 5 Americans agreeing on anything, you know if that is on the opposition side, it's a political loser. And among independents, who are, of course, that key block in the middle of the United States political electorate, we're talking about 2/3 of independents there and about who oppose the deployment of either active duty U.S. military or National Guard into U.S. cities.
What are the questions that people are asking, or what are the issues they see with these deployments?
Okay, look, I think it's that they don't buy Donald Trump's case for why these troops must go into the U.S. cities. So the New York Times essentially gave you a two-pronged little answer here, right? Trump may use the National Guard to intimidate rivals, or big city crime will spiral out of control if the troops don't go into cities. What you see here is the majority that takes the case is that Trump may use the National Guard to intimidate political rivals at 51%.
Which becomes ever so apparent, right, when his chief propagandist goes on state-run media at this point and calls Democrats violent criminals, illegal aliens, and Hamas. And the irony is so obvious, right? It's why Trump labels student protesters, quote, domestic extremists, but also invites January 6th defendants to campaign rallies. It's why those on the right scream free speech before threatening to fire anyone who dare said anything unkind about Charlie Kirk.
If you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy. By focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive, stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
It's why they call liberals violent while running AI videos of tanks rolling through Chicago. So if you're wondering how we got to a place where a campaign spokesperson can compare millions of Americans to Hamas live on television, it's because they take orders from the man that made this type of communication, this type of rhetoric in politics, the norm. It is the man whose entry into the political world was via a racist claim that Barack Obama was not even a citizen. And to Karoline Leavitt, if you're going to call Democrats criminals or terrorists, at least make sure that your paycheck isn't coming from the same administration that is helmed by the only known convicted felon to lead the country and who literally accepted a private plane in brokering deals with those who have funded Hamas in the past.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why
It's
not?
only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us. I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.